Hi, my name is Tracy Lestage, and for my narrative speech, I am doing it on a kiss on the cheek. What is the meaning of a kiss on the cheek? Well, it can mean hello, it can mean affection, it can mean respect, or it can mean goodbye. It's important to show your loved ones how much you mean to them because you never know if it will be the last time you see them. July 7th, 2015, I was up getting ready, beating the mad rush to the showers because I was at camp with 6 girls in my cabin, and I had a meeting at 7 o'clock. And so I would get up early and get ready to go, and I would call my husband at 6 o'clock and just check in to see how everybody is doing. And got off the phone with him, and shortly after that, he had called me back. And he could barely talk on the phone, and he whispered that my dad had passed. He had just passed away, just then. So I had to know, I had the decision to make whether to stay at Bible camp with the 6 girls, because if I left, they left. They would have to leave because I was the only one for that cabin. Or do I stay? Let's go back to Labor Day weekend 2014. That's when all of this started with my dad and his problems with his heart. I had gotten a call that Sunday morning from my aunt, and she had told me that he had just had a heart attack. And my dad wanted to be at the family reunion, but he was home recovering from pneumonia. And but he just so wanted to be there. And so I got ready and I headed to the hospital, and they ended up medevacing him to Swedish because he was having, they were afraid that he was going to have a really bad heart attack. And so at Swedish, they found that his left main artery was 90% clogged. So they had to go in and put in 2 stents and to open up that artery so that the blood could flow through. The left main artery is the artery that contains the oxygen that supplies it to the rest of your body, so it's very critical to have that opened. My dad got out of the hospital, and that was the beginning of all of his problems, really, because he never really fully recovered from that. He just kept getting hospitalized, and he was in and out of the hospital like 4 times a month, sometimes more. He would get out of the hospital one day, go back in the next, and it was just a roller coaster ride with us because we didn't know, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the last goodbye? And but he's a fighter. He fought really hard, and so every time he'd go in the hospital, I'd be like, yeah, he's just a fighter. He'll fight through this and he'll get better, and we'll just work on that, and so July 3rd, this was before we went to camp, the Friday before we left for camp. My dad had another heart attack in June, and he was down at Harrison Hospital in Bremerton, and it was on Father's Day, and it was also his birthday, so we went down and visited him and had a good visit with him, and he got out of the hospital, was home for a day, and then he was in Olympic Medical the next day. And the heart attack he had in June had done more damage than what they had thought. And so July 3rd, I went in to visit him before everybody else got there. I wanted my time with my dad. And so I got there and they were, changing his sheets and stuff. So I waited out in the lobby and was just sitting there just thinking, do I take the girls to camp? Do I not? Do I stay home? So I was kind of having those battles. And so I finally went in to see my dad, and he was like really hungry. He's like, I'm so hungry. And so I went out and got the nurse and said, he's really hungry, and so she brought in some food. And he couldn't really lift his hand. He was really weak. And so I started feeding him, and I fed him orange Jello. And he took a bite of it, and he was just like, oh my gosh, that is just the best thing ever, And I just kind of laughed at him because he was so funny. And I fixed him some tea because he couldn't have coffee. And so I helped him have a sip of tea, and he was like, that is the best ever. I'm just going to quit coffee and drink tea, and I started laughing because he's such a coffee drinker, and he's just so funny. And so I was talking to him about camp. I said, I don't know what to do, and you're not doing so well. And he's like, take Lacey to camp and go and have fun. He's like, she'll have so much fun and you'll have fun. And he's like, I would really want you to go and let her have this experience. And so I decided, okay, I'll go. But and I told him, I said, but I'll be back as soon as I get back, I'll come visit you, And so everybody was starting to come in at that point. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go. And, but, Lacey sends her love because Lacey was at home sick. And he said, I love all of my grandkids. I love them all. And I'm like, I know you do, and he said that, he said, so go and have a good time. And I said, okay. And so I leaned over and gave him a hug. And I told him I loved him. And he said, I love you too. And he gave me a kiss on the cheek. And, that just means so much to me. And so, we went to camp. And I got that call. And I decided to stay. We stayed until that Friday because I know that is what my dad would want, is for my daughter to be around other people and help her through this and help me through this. And it was the best decision for us, I believe. I didn't know that I would never see or talk or touch my dad ever again. I just thought that this was just another hospital visit. And I am so thankful for the time that we spent that morning. And it will forever be a special moment in my life. So, you never know how much time you have with somebody. So make sure that you tell them that you love them and give them a kiss on the cheek. Thank you.